Good evening, every pony and every creature, and that was the intro! I have finally decided to buckle down and make myself an intro. As always, this is Drata Arcana at DAG, Drata Arcana Gaming. So, news! Well, before we jump into the stream tonight, we have a lot of news that's gone down. As always, guys, no butt dratas. So today we're going to be talking about the ready phase, but first let's get some news out of the way. Conventions are somewhat over. Somewhat over. BronyCon was a lot of fun. I had a blast making that vlog for you guys, and after Gen Con, I really buckled down to finally get some reaction videos done. You may have seen that on my YouTube channel. And on top of it all, I did get all those vlogs finished. And now we're back to our regular Pony CCG streams. I came in 7th at Gen Con, 5th at BronyCon, and 1st at TrotCon. Granted, TrotCon was a bit of a fail, but oh well. In other words, also, BronyCon next year, I will be attending BronyCon over Gen Con. Also, starting next month, if you are subscribed to my channel on both YouTube and Twitch, you need to be on both, and you decide to post something during this particular stream, if you participate in this stream regularly, you will be automatically entered in as long as you had asked a question or made a comment during each of the streams every Sunday at this time. As long as you make one comment, you are eligible to win either a promo, a UR, or an SR. And if you want to claim said prize, all you have to do is I will be posting out in the next couple weeks a new email account for this channel. As long as you are subscribed and to both Drata Arcana Gaming on Twitch and YouTube, you need to be at both, and you have been actively participating in my streams, you have a chance to win a UR, SR, or promo. So that's going to start up here in September. When I finally get that email account up and running, all you have to do is send me a direct email, which I will put out there. All you have to do is email me and say, hey, this is my address, and I will send you the cards. Also, you also need, it also depends whether you win. I will be saying at the end of the September, the last Sunday of September, I will announce the winner of said reward. So look forward to that. That is starting in September. Now, on to the actual meat of the topic. I have an exciting stream for you guys today, and a long series that's going to be going on for the next couple streams is going to be each phase of the My Little Pony CCG. I am actually going to spend probably most of the time talking about, in each stream, we will be going over each individual phase. So today we're going to start from the very heart of the game, the ready phase. You ready for the ready phase? I know I'm not. Right, Twilight? Yeah, Twilight. Once again, Twilight is sitting on my lap making sure that everyone pays attention in class. So anyways, guys, let's jump right into it. So the first stage of the ready phase is real simple. It's called the action step. And this is basically the action step. This is what I think of the action step. It's a gemstone. It's a bunch of gems inside of a cave. The gems are your action tokens. And the cave is like the actual step. So you're going to want to hoard all those gems. You're going to be like Rarity. You want all the gems. All of them. All of them. All of them. So anyways, yeah. So, sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself and a little bit excited for this stream tonight. So basically what it is the action step is where you're going to gain all of your AT. Um, this is literally the first step in the process. Actually, I'm sorry. My stream got messed up from earlier. Hold on. Let me try to fix this. Can I fix this? Okay. It's actually, sorry. The action step is not the first step. The first step is ready all things. It's the ready step. Basically what happens in the ready step, everything unexhausts. Sorry about that, folks. I messed up. The first step is actually the ready step, is the ready phase. So what it does is that at the ready phase, it's now your turn, everything unexhausts, and everything should be ready to go. So basically everything unreadies. You cannot do anything during this time. The game literally forces you to ready everything. Then after the ready phase, then comes the action step. So after the ready phase, you get the action step. So once everything's ready, you get your action tokens. Once again, you cannot do anything during this step. The only thing you can do is gain your action tokens. And that's like, you know, I always found that the most exciting part of the game. Like, how many action tokens am I going to get? Ooh, action tokens. You know, it's kind of like that. So anyways, after you've readied everything, the next step comes and you gain your AT, which stands for action tokens. I'm going to continue to refer to it as AT from here on out. And you guys could be like, but Drada, you know, we don't want to refer to it AT. You should totally say action tokens. And I'm going to be like, abbreviations, people. Look it up. So here's the question. What AT do you get at any point in the game? Well, I have a handy dandy chart. And here it is. So the way that you gain action tokens in this game is based on who has the highest score as a player. So even if you're doing multiplayer, where it's like 3 round robin or 2-on-2 or whatever, you go by the person that has the highest score. And in the beginning of the game, if you're going first, generally you're only going to get 2 AT because the max score is 0. So if the person with the highest score is equal to or less than 1 point, that's your little scorecard there. If they're less than 1 point, you will only receive 2 action tokens. Now, the moment someone gets to greater than 1, but less than 6, every player starts gaining 3 action tokens. And when you start getting 3 action tokens, this is when we start getting into mid-game just a little bit. So you'll receive 3 action tokens for the person that has the highest score. As long as their highest score is within the numbers of 2 and 5. So it has to be the highest score has to be greater than 1, but less than 6. Then you start to gain 4 action tokens if the person with the highest score in the entire game, remember, if you're doing 3-on-3 or 3 players, it's always the person with the highest score. Though this game's not really designed for multiplayer, it's more designed for one-on-ones, but let's continue. If the person with the highest score has more than 5 points, but less than 11, you each gain 4 action tokens. And then the highest score, when the highest score in the game, the player with the highest score, if their score is 11, is equal to or greater than 11, all players receive 5 action tokens. This is late game. So the way I've always looked at this is always check your opponent to make sure that who has the highest score. because it's going to be dependent on their score how much AT you get. And I've seen so many times where I've had to ask to make sure that my opponents were like at 2 or they were at 6, because most of the time, a lot of people forget that when you get the 2 points, the highest score being 2, each player receives 3 action tokens. It's commonly forgotten. So always make sure that if you think, if you think that they've confronted once, just double check after their next turn. If they confront on their first turn, next turn, double check their score, because 3 AT can change what you're going to do on your next turn. It really can. And a lot of times people forget that they just got 3 AT and they'll only give themselves 2. And that becomes a big problem. Now, after you complete the ready step, which comes first, then you complete the action step. The next step, though it doesn't specify, there is now a priority window. Woo! The first priority window of your turn. Can you believe it? That you haven't even drawn a card yet, and you get a priority window. Oh no! This is where the game starts getting confusing, knowing when the priority windows occur. And this is what I mean by priority window. Yes. Twilight looking very disappointed, and things can happen in this window of time. Anything can happen. And that is just the way that it is going to be. Like I said, anything can happen. So, what is a priority window? A priority window, basically, what happens is either player can do stuff during the priority window. However, the way priority works is that the turn player gets first priority. They are allowed to do whatever they want during that time before the opponent can respond. So if it's not your turn, you have to give your opponent the opportunity to take advantage of that priority window. But if they choose not to, then the priority passes over to you. Well, you can take that priority window and do something. And that is how priority works. If you decide to pass priority and your opponent decides to actually take advantage of that priority, or if they pass priority, then it's assumed that if you get 3 priority passes, that no one is going to do anything during the priority window. And that means that no one's playing anything, no one's going to do anything, and they just take, and then they just move on. However, there are several things that occur during this priority window, and we're going to look at some cards that actually have requirements during the priority window of this section. And if you're anything like me, you absolutely dread priority windows. It's just, I cry. Twilight, why? Anyways, enough with the melodrama. I'm way too dramatic tonight. So anyways, let's look at some priority cards for this priority window. And there's quite a few, and I'm only going to do one for each type of ability, so keep that in mind. Okay, here's 2 examples of cards, our first 2 examples of cards that impact during priority. So you might be like, but Drada, Princess Twilight Sparkle cover to cover only has prepared and main phase. And here's the thing that a lot of players forget about. She also contains Meticulous. Meticulous can only be activated during this priority window step. So here's the thing. The way this would work is, let's say my opponent had Changeling Mimics and I had Princess Twilight Sparkle. It's my turn. I can Meticulous a card. So basically, I can only do this after I've readied everything, and I gained my AT. During this time, Meticulous would kick in. I'm allowed to look at the top card of my deck and either put it on top or the bottom. I can only do that during the priority step of the ready phase. Next, Changeling Mimic specifically says at the start of each opponent's turn. This means that I would gain my AT and I would gain my I would also gain everything would ready before Changeling Mimics would kick in. So what does this mean? It means potentially that, and I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember the exact rulings on it, but I'm pretty sure I can play something during the in between the two Changeling Mimics triggers if my opponent has it. If I don't do anything, then they are free during my priority windows during the ready phase to declare what they wish to call. But I believe during the priority window time, if it's my turn, I can play an immediate. And we'll get into immediates in a bit during this time. And so Changeling Mimics basically says, but we're not going to go into the in-depths of this because that's a whole nother stream for another time. But the way Changeling Mimic works is that you declare either events, resources, or troublemakers during the ready phase's priority window in between the action step and the draw step. And that's how that works. And the reason why Meticulous, you Meticulous first, then you draw, is because the only priority window during the ready phase is between the action step and the draw step. Alright, so let's look at two other examples as well. Then we have these two priority cards. You got a card like Perfect Teleport and Shoeshine. So let's go over Perfect Teleport first. Perfect Teleport is a card that after the start of any phase, you can play this, so it works like an immediate. And then at the start of your turn, put that friend into play. The into play effect only occurs during the priority window of the turn. It only comes in during that priority window in between the action step and the draw step. So you gotta remember this priority window. Now you could play Perfect Teleport at this time to banish one of your friends until the start of the next turn, but you won't be able to put that friend into play this turn because of the fact that it's actually banishing the friend and you don't get another priority window. Instead, it would actually, the friend would come into play at the start of your opponent's turn. So you could Perfect Teleport one of your friends. It's just better to do it during your opponent's end phase. So the friend comes back into play at the start of your ready phase during this priority window. Shoeshine, the only reason why it would have the ability to activate during this priority window is because it has an immediate. So during this time in the ready phase, you could potentially move Shoeshine at immediate speed during your priority window before your draw, because immediates can be played during this priority window. Some unique things you can do with that, though it doesn't really help you all that much. Like I said, I'm just going over which traits will allow you to do stuff during this priority window time of the ready phase. Now we're going to look at something really, really unique. And I'm kind of blowing through this stream a little quickly. There's still kind of a lot. I was hoping this stream would take me a little bit longer, but it's a really simple phase. And I'm sure that the Troublemaker phase will be all sorts of convoluted next stream. But overall, things like Perfect Teleport or Good Night Sleep, a lot of times these cards have Princess Luna Good Night Sleep. A lot of times these cards have weird effects that when they trigger, they cause things to happen that the game has to kind of search for. So if you played Perfect Teleport during your priority window of your ready phase, your friend won't come into play because of the fact that it just removed your friend. Because there's not another priority window after that, the game is going to search for the next ready phase or the next start of turn during the priority window of the next start of turn. It will not cause that friend to come into play during this time. So you got to be careful when you're in the priority window of the ready phase. You just got to make sure that if you really want to take priority and actually do something, make sure it's something that you can do. Cards like Selena Blue are great because they allow you to draw 3 cards during this time and top deck 2, so you'll get 1 back. So you could use things like Selena Blue, Sink or Swim. You could do a lot of things during this time before you actually draw. The big one is definitely Meticulous, which allows you to utilize the ready phase to kind of pick and choose what you want to do. However, remember, once you draw your card, Meticulous can no longer activate. And you miss the trigger of Meticulous. You have to do it before you draw. So next up, another card, and this one's a little bit more confusing, I think, in the long term of the game, is a card known as Changeling Throne. So this card came out in DOE. And the way it works is a little confusing. The way it functions is mostly I'm not looking at the first 3 abilities of this card, and not the fact that it's unique, but I'm looking at the start of your turn you may pay 2 and exhaust this card to score a point. This card, the way it works is that at the start of your turn, that means that is whenever you see a card that says at the start of your turn, it's referring to the priority window between the action step and the draw step. And at the start of your turn, you may pay 2. So that means you just gained, let's say, 4 AT. You can spend those 2 AT to score a point. Or you could just skip over this. But you already gained your AT. So whatever AT you get, you can spend 2 of it to go ahead and score a point, and then you still have 2 AT left over. It's not like you can't do it before the action step. You have to do it during the priority window in between the draw step and the action step, which means you haven't even drawn your card yet. So if you're out of cards and you're like, oh well, I don't have any cards in hand, so I'm going to score a point, and then you draw a 4-cost friend and you can't play it because you spent 2 AT on Changeling Throne and you needed to play that friend, that's the gamble. So Changeling Throne, great card. It allows for point acceleration, but it does require you to spend the 2 AT before drawing, so you won't know what you're going to draw until you do this, unless you have Meticulous in play, in which case you can just Meticulous the top and say, okay, I'm going to... So let's say you had Cover to Cover in play and then Changeling Throne in play. You choose the order in which you do things. So I could basically use Meticulous first, see what's on top, and then I can choose to utilize Changeling Throne. But after I choose to do Meticulous, I have to pass priority to my opponent. Then they would choose if they want to do anything. Typically, they're not going to do anything against that. You just Meticulous. I mean, they could go ahead and dismiss your Changeling Throne, and that would really stink because then you wouldn't be able to activate it, but such is life. So during this time, you just need to be careful for, both with your deck and your opponents, because some people really like playing things during the other player's ready step, just to throw them off guard. But typically during this priority window, not a lot of things are going to happen. But Changeling Throne is definitely something that happens during that time. And if you have the first priority, you can choose in which order things will occur. So what comes after this step? Well, after the priority window finally closes and both your opponents agree that nothing else is going to get done during the priority window of the ready phase, we skip to the next step. Now, this step is not skippable, but you know what? It's the step that gambles the most. And it is Heart of the Cards, guide me, I draw. Yes, I had to put that together with Twilight and Sweetie Belle fighting each other. Yes, I made a meme. I made a reference to Yu-Gi-Oh! And made it pony related. But Heart of the Cards, guide me. I had a very big time Heart of the Cards moment at BronyCon where I had to pay one to draw. I only had one loyal pony left in my deck. If I drew that card, I would win the game. I paid 1 AT. I drew that card. And the Heart of the Cards guide me. So, anyways, it was a fun match, but Heart of the Cards. The draw step. So what do you do during the draw step? I think it's obvious. The turn player draws a card. So here's the kicker. The turn player draws a card during the draw step. Unless it's the first turn of the game. That means that if you're going first and it's your turn, you still go through the ready phase, the ready step, the action step, the priority window, but you're going to skip over the draw step. So you won't be able to draw that precious card. It's kind of a penalty for going first. Because basically you start the game with 2 AT ahead of your opponent, which is a disadvantage to them. So you don't draw, and they get a card. It's kind of to offset the unbalance or the unevenness of going first. And anyways, so for the most part, guys, that is the ready phase. There's not a lot to this phase because it's so few steps, and to try to make this into an hour-long stream is really exhausting, but I'm trying. I will go ahead and throw it out there if people have questions. If I don't see any, I don't know what else to really talk about. It's kind of a short step. Next week, we will definitely be going over the Troublemaker phase, and I will definitely be going into Troublemaker uniqueness during that step. That is definitely going to be a long stream, guys. It's going to be a long stream because of the fact that the stream will be going over Troublemaker uniqueness as well as the Troublemaker phase. Anyways, that's kind of an in-depth guide of the ready phase. These are kind of in-depth guides to kind of talk about what happens during each of the phases. So we're actually looking at each individual phase. We'll go over the Troublemaker phase next week. The week after, we'll go over the main phase. The week after that, we'll go over the score phase, and then we'll go over the end phase. Definitely, the next 3 streams will definitely be the longest because the main phase and the score phase and the Troublemaker phase are where like 80% of the action actually happens. So those will definitely be longer streams. So for a trade-off of you guys having less from me tonight, you will definitely have more next week. So stepping away a little bit from the topic tonight, I definitely had a great time at the conventions. I know that you guys probably watch my vlogs. Just, check them out if you haven't. If you're looking for reactions, I'll be doing them each week. I should have the next reaction uploaded by tomorrow, and yeah, so that's it for ready for the ready phase. It's a really, really simple phase, but that priority window is definitely important, and you want to keep that in mind. Um, when you're building your decks or even looking at what what options you have. And really that's what these next few streams are going to be about. It's going to be breaking down the turn order. So I should have put all of this in a single stream, but I felt like that breaking it into steps would actually be a little bit more beneficial. And what I'll do is that when I get done explaining each of the steps, I'll go ahead and merge all these streams into one. And then what we'll do is we'll utilize that as kind of a long tutorial of how to actually conduct a turn. And that will hopefully help the newer players and a lot of maybe the not the competitive players really understand what happens in the turn. And it'll be like an MLP turn in 2 to 3 hours, and it'll be like a really lengthy video. But I think that, you know, it'll help players understand the game. So it's kind of like what I'm doing is these videos will be the comprehensive rules in a single video. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to do by the end of it all. But for right now, I'm just going to stream each individual of these videos, and we'll go ahead and take it in strides, because there's a lot to talk about in each phase. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all the information I had to cover. So don't be like, but Drada, your streams are usually an hour long. And I'm going to be like, yeah, normally they are. But this is a really simple video. Honestly, I'm still a little exhausted from conventions and everything. And I'm still working through my own feelings and everything else with things that have happened. But anyways, guys, I will be getting going here a little earlier than usual. If you're around in the next hour and a half, check out Commentary is Magic. They are going to be reviewing BronyCon and Gen Con. My name will probably come up. I will not be able to join them for that stream. I have too much. I have to go to work tomorrow and everything, but that's okay. As always, guys, I have a new intro now, so I'll be playing that at the beginning of each stream. And it'll also be put into all of my videos from here on out. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of the intro. Make sure you just subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. You can find me at Drada Arcana Gaming. You can email me at drada.arcana@gmail.com right now. I think I'm going to use that as my primary Gmail account. So if you do win a prize, make sure that you email me there. But like I said, that's starting in September. And you definitely have a chance to win either an SR, a UR, or a promo. And they will be selected at random each month, and the winner will receive that card. So it's kind of like a giveaway that's like over time. And eventually you might even be able to get a full play set from this. I mean, if you win multiple times in a row. If you're also the only one that shows up, and you're the only one subscribed to my Twitch and YouTube, you have a 100% chance of potentially winning as long as you comment during my Sunday night streams. However, that is coming up. I will be doing that. I just need to select the first card that will be rewarded. But anyways, guys, as always, this is Drada Arcana at Drada Arcana Gaming. And I look forward to seeing you guys next stream. I'm kind of sad. I'm sad. Twilight, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm very, very sad. Why? Why did the stream end early? Why? Anyways, enough with the melodrama. I can get carried away sometimes. I think we all know this by now. but look for things in the future. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Go ahead and message me if you have further questions, comment, like, hit the subscribe. I use that to determine kind of how the channel's going as well. I don't really... That's what I use it for, actually. I use the subscribe and the followers to let me know how many people are interested in my content. If you view a video, that also gives me information. This allows me to ensure that I actually am being looked at. You don't necessarily have to comment, but please share these videos, these streams for the next few weeks with people. Especially people just getting into the game. These videos will help them out immensely. A detailed explanation of this kind of stuff will help newer players. But anyways, guys, as always, this is Drada Arcana at Drada Arcana Gaming, and have a good night, every pony, every creature. Give your love to Luna to help you sleep at night. Give your love to Twilight for being the princess of friendship. Or give love to any pony or any creature that you personally love in the MLP universe. That's up to you. But Luna does help you sleep at night. And Twilight is always on my lap making sure things go smoothly. She keeps me in line. Don't you, Twilight? Yes, you do. Anyways, guys, as always, don't hate the Alicorn OC and no butt Dradas. Have a good night.